Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Influence Now, and I'm your host, Justin Kraft. Thank you for joining us today. I know everybody's been kind of, obviously relegated to being at home most of the time, and we're really excited to be doing a live format broadcast going forward, and we've actually been working on this for a while, over the last couple months, deciding what we're going to do with our podcast and bringing it into a live format. We're going to go across a lot of different mediums and medias in the future. So make sure you do subscribe to us going forward, because we're going to have a lot of great guests, things that are going to be helpful in this time, as well as things that are going to be helpful for your business in general going forward. So again, I'm Justin Kraft, and today I have Dustin Campos. And he's the CEO, founder, I don't know if CEO is the right word, founder of REVIVIFY Surface. And REVIVIFY Surface, they do, actually I'll let you talk about what REVIVIFY Surface does, because you're probably better at it than I am. So without further ado, here's Dustin.
Hey everybody, Dustin Campos, REVIVIFY Surface. Yeah, so our business has changed quite a bit over the last few weeks, as most everybody else's has. Traditionally, we are a in-home care tile, grout, ceiling, restoration, preservation. We deal with outdoor surfaces such as pool surrounds, driveways, concrete patios, brick, veneer, and right now we're avoiding people's houses.
Yeah, and bringing this back to why I have you as a guest, and a lot of businesses right now, they're having to pivot into something else, and not that you weren't already in this space of cleaning and doing resurfacing and those types of things, which makes you an expert on this. But with a lot of businesses out there right now, different facilities, essential businesses having to be still up to snuff basically on, and also making their employees happy and keeping them safe, and also the customers happy and keeping them safe. All these things have changed drastically, and I would like to hear just how you came about wanting to pivot your business into this. I mean, obviously it was out of necessity a little bit, but why did you decide to pivot this direction? Was it just that you wanted to help, that it was a need, that it just kind of fits all the things you already did?
Yeah, so essentially watching everything unfold, seeing the reality of the situation. Our customers, we have a largely elderly-based customer base. So knowing that I don't want to risk their safety, also my own employees, there's no way I'm gonna put them in a situation where they can get sick. So looking forward, what's going on, seeing that there's an absolute finish line in residential and just general tile cleaning, we saw the opportunity with some of our contracts that we already maintain to talk to them, say, hey, we can offer a service. This is something you guys need to take seriously. And from there, the education started happening, how our process, our PPE from day one has been spot on, and getting our chemicals dialed in, everything certified that we use, certified to kill COVID-19 from the CDC website. So I mean, it was just, it was something we saw coming, but definitely jumped on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that, is a necessity. And I remember talking to you when this virus first kind of was hitting, and you were like, man, this is going to be such a big need that, companies and facilities are going to need this. They're going to have this. It's going to have to be repeated over and over again. And it's not even, a promotion of what you do. It's more of, this is a necessity for so many reasons, and trying to flatten the curve or whatever else we're trying to do right now. But having said that, I did want to capture that pivot, because it's very important. I think a lot of companies, businesses out there are trying to pivot their businesses to survive right now. And even though you're actually helping support the cleanliness and the actual essential things that need to happen, it's also important for people to be thinking about those things as they go forward. I would like to open it up. So as anyone that is listening to us or watching us live right now, especially for the live broadcast, please do in the comments section, I think it's on this side of me, maybe that side of me, make sure that you put some comments in there. I could pull those comments in where it's necessary in this conversation. We had some really good questions happen before this event that people submitted to us. I'm going to be pulling those in. I also recommend, if you aren't listening to this live or watching it live, that you do put questions in the comments below the video going forward, because we'll definitely get back to this. Check it. This is a constantly changing thing right now, the safety and well-being of workers and employees and everybody that's involved in this right now, that we're going to want to stay up on this and answer all your questions as good as we can. And Dustin's an amazing resource for this. So please do put those comments in there. So one of the first questions we had, Dustin, kind of coming into this, and actually this is one of my questions, so we'll leave it at that for now. And I put it in the chat. Because this virus is so easily transmitted, how often should someone look to have a facility disinfected? Does this change by industry? How do people go about, just what is the process behind this and why is it important?
Well, it's important because of how long the virus lives outside the body. 4 hours to several days. They've seen it up to 17 days on the Princess cruise liner, which I hope that we're not really seeing that here in our world. But how many times a day do you really want this service? It could happen 1 to 3 times a day. Come in there, and it's just an absolute, at that point, those surfaces are dead. There's nothing that could possibly live on them. That's only good at that point in time. After that, it's best practices and how your employees are treating the space, and how often you really do feel that you need to disinfect and keep that area clean, which is realistically on high touch points every touch right now.
And so the high touch points, so that obviously different industries are going to have different touch points and different, whether if I'm in warehousing, for example, how often, should I be having my machinery cleaned, facility cleaned professionally, not just with the employees themselves? How often should somebody going in there, making sure it's disinfected, those types of things?
Yeah, relying on your employees is important, but you are relying on your employees to do something that they're not trained to do, and it takes away from them doing their normal daily tasks. Ideally, you want to make money doing what you do. And, there's a lot of people struggling right now and some idle time. But assigning people, hey, this is your forklift today. It's clean. It's your forklift. You use it all day long. Helps that transmission rate. So it's anytime you cross paths with somebody, there's another transmission point. And so having it professionally cleaned several times a day helps prevent those transmission points and helps keep those transmission points clean. We work to identify those, walk in the facility, physically touching things, talking with employees and seeing where their concerns are.
Yeah. Could you actually expand on that a little bit more as far as the actual process that you go through when you're cleaning a facility? Because I think it's important for people to realize the difference between a person walking the facility or a professional going through the facility than employees or just your general maintenance crew that you may have had in the past going through the facility and cleaning it. Because some people, I'm sure, that are listening are like, why can't I just have my own maintenance crew do this, or whatever the case may be? And I would like to maybe expand on some of those differences. Yeah,
and I would encourage, all hands on deck. Constant cleaning is important right now. But our specialists, our technicians, one, we're in 100% PPE. We're in a full suit. They walk in, they're white suit. They have a respirator, N95, or a HEPA filter mask, which is even better. We have safety glasses or a full face shield, depending, again, on how many people are around us. You get into an office space where people are, they're everybody 6 feet, but tight. You have a lot of particulates in the air. It's my concern is keep you guys safe and keep my own staff safe. That's important to me. So as we walk through, we hit all of the touch points. We have a spray. It kills COVID-19 within 10 minutes of touching. Yeah. We keep it wet. We also spray and wipe all the touch points. What's important about that is any touch point where you have buildup of residue and oils, it'll encapsulate. And if you just spray on, the next guy that grabs the handle after it's dry might activate it, might dig through it. So it's important to keep those areas wiped clean with the product.
Yeah, and it's really not that invasive the way it sounds, the way you're portraying it. So having like a professional crew, because one of the things, if I'm running a retail business or a grocery store or whatever it is, I don't know if you do grocery stores or not, but whatever the business is, I would be worried about how often I have to stop and start again, and how invasive that might be to the process of my workday if I'm having to actually have to be at an office. So can you maybe expand on maybe that invasiveness? Is it a non-invasive thing, or?
Yeah, it's fairly non-invasive. Every once in a while we'll get somebody just kind of holds their hand up like, yeah, my office is clean right now, we're good. And, and we make our rounds and come back by and touch it again. And again, it's that cross transmission. Mm-hmm. Anytime that person gets up, leaves, comes back to their desk, wash your hands, clean your hands, try to keep those clean rooms, those safe areas like your house, your office, try to keep them your little sanctuary. And that limits that guy's back to clean my desk again. Versus like, hey, thank you for cleaning my desk, I'm going to keep it clean too. Mm-hmm. And that, again, with the world where it is right now, budget sensitive is is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And so trying to create a system where our customers are working with us to create a safe environment helps us cut costs and our workload coming in and helping with the process.
Yeah. Fantastic. I think that brings us to and actually this question came through earlier as well, and it brings us, a lot of what you're saying is a lot of people, there's a lot of quote unquote disinfectants, quote unquote cleaners out there that people are maybe utilizing right now, or homemade options or whatever it is. I was even on the CDC website and I noticed they had a bleach option that they were kind of recommending that you could potentially do. So the question then becomes, what are the best disinfectants? So what are your thoughts on the disinfectants you should use? What are your thoughts on, obviously homemade options aren't the best, because you can definitely mess that up pretty easily. So what would your recommendations be around the actual disinfectants themselves, and what makes the disinfectant you use so good?
Well, so one of the big issues with a bleach solution, right? And we have a bleach solution that we use in certain areas. But one of the biggest issues with the bleach solution is you'll actually run out of bleach molecules while they're trying to kill the virus, depending on how dirty your surface is. So bleach in the world of cleanliness you have to use such a high concentrate to be effective that it's caustic. You can cause lots of damage, your carpet, stuff like that. And so bleach does work, and it works great. It just, you have to have your concentration right to get it to be effective. So that's something to be concerned about. Quaternary ammonium, or quat as it's called, that one is used in the food industry worldwide. It's well known. This is a product that we're using every day. Another big product we're using is chlorine dioxide. This is a special product. It breaks down to nanomolecules. So it's smaller than the virus. It spreads out in water. It dissipates quickly. It doesn't harm carpet. It doesn't harm anything. We spray it on. You can use it as hand sanitizer at that point. You touch a wet door handle, rub your hands together. Good job. So there's a benefit to that product. And, coming up with cleaners right now, it's, go to any Home Depot and try to find bleach. It's warfare out there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, we ran out of bleach here at my house last week, and it's definitely something we use more than we thought we did. So we're a little disappointed that we don't have it right now, and it's almost impossible to find, like you said. Another kind of question that came up too, and this is just from my conversations with folks out there too, is the education of employees. A lot of employees are, they may not be as invested in keeping a workspace clean. What is some of the things that an employee, or what are some of the things that an employer can do to educate employees and get them to do some best practices? And then I'm going to lead into what are those best practices. But if you could start with what are some of those things that you can do to educate employees?
Yeah, so this is something I take very seriously, and I take it seriously to my employees, as we try to limit our employees' cross exposure to different companies. One, that helps us maintain our exposure and knowing who they've come in contact with. But when you're talking about what that employee does at home, what they're doing at the office, and so the obvious 6-foot rule, stay at home if you feel ill. This is a big one. So as an employer, encourage your employees to stay home if they don't feel well. The virus comes on hard, and they should know that there's an obvious change, but why risk your entire company? That person comes to work and infects everybody there. You can't perform your business. So encourage people to stay home, and that's a hard one for an employer to do. Non-key employees working from home, again, another way to distance yourself and keep your company's risk lower. Limit customer contact. You have people coming off the street. Who knows what they believe? Right now, you have exactly what you said. You had such a wide range of people thinking this is made up versus this is the end of the days. And it's neither. It's right in the middle. It's just something we can prevent. We're obviously, the world economy is going through everything, trying to keep this at bay. So I feel like if we treat it with the same respect, we'll all get there together, right? So sanitizing your car, wash your hands, the simple best practices. Don't touch your face, and educate your employees on how important that stuff is, to take that home, to manage their exposure at home, their spouse, their kids. Really take this seriously. You're going to work because you're an essential employee. You need to stay healthy.
What is it that you're seeing? What is it that you're seeing from these businesses to promote the fact that they have a professional cleaning service? So what is it that they, I want to trust that when I go to a grocery store, they're having it professionally cleaned multiple times a day. But I have no way of knowing that other than a whiteboard that they put in front of the store. And I'm just curious on what can be done to help educate customers and make customers feel well. Because if I'm a business owner, I want to make my customers feel extremely good about coming into my store right now, especially since we have these stay-at-home orders. So when you do go out, you're going out once every week, once every 2 weeks, right? You're not going out that often. Give me some of that. I know there's got to be things that people can do from a business standpoint to help people understand that they're as safe as they can be at a particular place of business.
Yeah, this is a huge value add. What we provide is we provide a notice we put in every desk, every window, every entrance. These people see that you care about your customers, you care about your employees. So when a customer shows up, they know that at some point that day, at least, somebody took this really seriously. And so they know that yesterday's virus isn't there. They know today it's been cleaned. They still need to practice, best practices and caution. But there is seeing a label. We've been trained to look at labels. Hey, this says AAA. We know that's quality. So anytime we can put a label on something, people can recognize that a service is being done under that label. The fact that you have a professional do it, again, that helps your customer have some solace knowing that you're taking this seriously. And one of the biggest, I would say one of the biggest, if not the biggest benefit is your employer morale. We've seen a jump in employee morale knowing that, one, their employer cares about them. They want them to be healthy. Two, that they're in a environment that is now safe.
Yeah, well put. And we have another question came through. And I think this one's pretty vital as well, because a lot of people don't know what to do in this situation. If you're a business owner and someone has been diagnosed with the virus, what do you do? What do I do next?
Right.
This can go down a lot of different roads, but just in general, what should be done in these situations?
Yeah, I mean, this is a scary time, and knowing what to do here could be the difference between your company getting shut down completely and your doors staying open. Mm-hmm. So we've had to come up with plans based on the size of the company of what to do. Again, those best practices, the separating people around, trying to limit that cross-contamination exposure, because here's where it all comes together. So when something happens, you call me up and say, hey, Dustin, Bob stayed home sick today. He's got a fever. Okay. Well, evacuate the building, get everybody away from each other. Start there. Nobody comes into the office at this point. We come through, we spray all the hard surfaces, we wipe everything down, we douse this place. We ventilate. So you can scrub the air. There's a lot of theories on how to treat the air. We just put fans in the door and open the place up. Open windows, get the air moving. Depending on the size of the building, again, our cleaners, our disinfectants kill the virus within 10 minutes. So realistically, by the time we're done, 10 minutes later, there should be no virus. We recommend an amount of time based on the amount of people, the amount of carpet, square footage, those all vary. So whether you're shut down that whole day or a few hours is crucial for your business and depends on the actual business itself. What comes after this? Now you have an employee that tests positive, your employee that went sick. So how do you protect the rest of your employees? Well, you have a situation where that employee had contact with Susie and Will and Thomas. Well, those 3 employees need to stay home until that test comes back negative. And that's 2 to 4 days. If it comes back positive, those guys need to stay on quarantine. You don't want to reintroduce them to our clean environment. And you kind of have to assume this is going to happen. You have to come prepared. You have to show up every day knowing that today might be the day, because every day is different right now, right? Every day it seems like the information is changing, the risk changes. We're not at our peak here in Portland. They're estimating 4 to 6 weeks until we see the peak load on the hospitals, which is still a long ways away and a lot of potential risk between now and then. So if you have a plan and you're thinking through this, you can isolate those employees that you can't afford to get sick. You can have a plan to Will and Susie, when they have to get quarantined, you have your information set up, you have everything online, you have a program where they can work from home and still be productive. There's no reason for this to shut you down, but you do have to isolate and protect your employees.
Yeah, and I do know I know you're not a lawyer, but
I'm not a lawyer.
as a business owner myself, and been in different verticals and understanding some of the concerns that business owners are going to have or might have in these situations. One of them is, am I at risk of litigation if I don't have a professional cleaner, or is it more of a fail-safe just to ensure that I have a professional cleaning service come in and do this once a day, twice a day, to at least show that I know you're not a lawyer, so this is going to be a total opinion answer. But what is it that somebody can do in that instance? Because business owners are thinking about those types of things too. Is there's a potential litigation issue if you're not doing everything you can to make sure your business is clean and safe.
Yeah, in the world of legal, intent, right? Intent's a big word. And did you even try? When they look at it, say, did you even try to do anything? And blatantly obvious no's. I don't know if there's a legal recourse for this right now. I hope not. We're in untested waters. Mm-hmm. But the reality is nobody's really worried about legal right now. They're worried about how to keep their employees alive and at work, and their customers paying and showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not worried about legal, those other two items are, I feel, the most important thing to worry about right now is how do you keep your business running financially and how do you keep it running operational?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's good food for thought for everybody is, you do everything you can, do everything you can afford, show the intent that you're trying to keep your business as safe as possible. I think that's sound advice to anyone listening. I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick here. If anyone else has any comments or questions, please do put them in there. I've got a couple more minutes on here, but I do want to address just where people can get more information. Obviously, Revivify is providing information on their own website with the landing page, blogs, and those types of things. But where is it that people can get more information about how to keep their business safe and clean in this environment?
So the CDC website, is the best place. Not Facebook, not calling your mom and seeing what she used. Go to the CDC website. They have all of these cleaners. They have the specs. They have the quantities, what you should be using, best practices. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Gloves and masks, false security is a real issue. I want to get back to my normal daily activities. I like cleaning tile. I like helping people out. So my goal is to get back to there. And so understanding what PPE is and what it actually does. Your gloves don't protect you from touching your face because whatever you touch is now on those gloves and they're on everything that glove touches. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not a big glove fan in the real world because you need to clean your hands. You just need to wash and treat. And same thing with face masks. If they're not properly fitted and not properly working, they're not going to work at all. And so CDC is a great resource for what's happening and what's new, and every day things are changing. But just know that these best practices have been tried and true through the ages. No matter what anybody else tells you, there's ways this PPE should work.
Yeah, and I think we'll put the link for the CDC website in the comments section so it can actually be clickable. We'll actually put it in the comments so people can go here, click on it. I believe under all of anything related to a title that has COVID-19 or pandemic or whatever right now, I think YouTube is actually putting a learn more button underneath all these videos as well. So make sure you do go to that website, check that out. There may be things though you can't find or be able to even do because the product may not even exist because you just can't get it. And that's where like professional cleaners can come in as well and help you out. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and ask people in your local area that are in this business what they can, what can they do, how they can help, what you can do if something's not available, those types of questions. Dustin's located in Portland and Vancouver, Washington area. So anybody that's in that area that might be watching or listening to this, please, do reach out to Revivify on this stuff. I've known Dustin for a little while, and he's an excellent resource for this. And having said that, Dustin, I'm just going to wrap this up and say, I do want you guys, please do follow Influence Now and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all our social media accounts, and please also follow Revivify. Again, he's a great resource for any kind of questions related to cleaning, staying safe in this situation. And we look forward to having you next time. So thank you, Dustin, for being on, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thank you, everybody.